Welcome back again, everyone, to another episode of Nortman Reviews as we go through the Onslaught saga. We're winding down. We only have a few issues left to go, and one of them is Cable, number 35. Now, again, this goes into Avengers. It goes to Fantastic Four. I do not have those comics. I am sorry. Maybe I can read them or look at them on the Marvel Unlimited app. I think I have access to that. I can do it on my iPad. If you're interested in me looking over some of the Avengers and Fantastic Four events of Onslaught, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. But what I do have is this issue of Cable. So the last issue of Cable, he fought Hulk. And at the end of that issue, it continued in the Hulk issue with them fighting. So I don't know how that ultimately resolved itself. But Apocalypse is there, and he's gonna show up soon. And it said in this, Cable versus Apocalypse, so that's this. In the last episode, in the issue of Uncanny X-Men number 336, at the end, Apocalypse was like, I gotta really get involved, and how am I gonna do it? And he was talking with the Watcher, and I don't know, the Watcher showed him an image of Cable, so Cable is supposed to be important to this whole thing. So this cover is fucking crazy. That anatomy is weird. I mean, what is going on with that torso, with that fucking bony ass, and the arm connected here is just weird. I mean, this is some cool techno-organic shit. It's done by Ian Churchill, who I don't know. I have to look at some other stuff. I remember kind of liking his stuff. I don't know if he gets better or not after this. I think he does some stuff with an Image somewhere. Here's the Watcher down angle on the city and Onslaught Citadel. He's giving a recap of everything that had happened. And he's talks about what the Watchers are and what he does, and how Onslaught is coming through. And last we saw, Onslaught did this crazy attack that kind of fucked up everything. It was a combination of Xavier's psionic powers, Magneto's magnetism control over the magnetic poles, and Franklin Richards' reality-shaping powers into this big, massive explosion. I don't even know what to call it. Cable and I don't know how these two got together or where everyone else went, but these two are in the middle of it. I mean, they were with everybody else. Thor was in them in a picture, and Xavier and Cyclops and everybody was. But they were in the eye of a psionic hurricane. And he talks about how he's been having a tough time with his powers lately, as this weird techno-organic virus that fucks with the metal in his body, as you can fucking tell, right? And usually he uses his psionic powers to keep it in check, but with everything going on lately, he's been having a hard time, and that virus is just getting worse and worse. And Susan Storm here, or Susan Richards, she's married, right? She's like, Cable, if you want to go help the others, then go. But Onslaught has my son, and I'm not going to leave him. If there's any chance I can get him back, I'm going to take that chance. So just more words talking about, she is Susan Richards, and she does this, this, and this. By her side is this guy, and he does this, this, and this. Yeah, okay, thank you. It is always darkest before the dawn. Oh, that's kind of a... So... they're talking, it's like, I know what it's like about losing family, so I will help you. And she says, we gotta go now. Onslaught grows more powerful as we speak, and then a foot steps out of nowhere, and she's like, she is correct. Cable turns around, you! And there's Apocalypse. And apparently, I mean, Cable came back from the future, from a reality or a possible future where Apocalypse took over everything. And he came back to stop it, right? That's his whole deal. And at this point in the comics, I don't think they've actually met face to face. So this is the first time that they see each other. Apocalypse here now? Apparently, my once and future foe. I have waited so very long for this moment. Two warriors, whatever. And Cable says, like, yeah, this probably, you mean this is a great time for you to take advantage of global upheaval. So, Cable just acts instinctively and just fucking hits him with a punch and amplified by his powers, I guess. And Apocalypse says, a battle with you is not in my interest right now. And he says, too bad, we've already had conflicting interests. Like, you're fucking stupid ass, Summers. I have walked for 2,000 years. Mine is the wisdom of the ages. So he's talking about how he's been long enough to see, like, how things are and how things are going to go. And he talks about there's a solution that stands before them. And he says, all I can see is a fucking killer. He's like, yeah, but I know of a way to defeat Onslaught. And I know of a way to separate the being Onslaught from the boy, Franklin Richards. I can get Franklin Richards out of him. That'll help stop Onslaught. That'll ultimately stop him. And he's like, you promise nothing. I'm going to stop. Nothing will stop me. But there's like a invisible barrier here. And he's like, yeah, but something has stopped you. And that's Susan Storm. And she stopped them. And I don't think she knows anything about Apocalypse. But she's like, I know something about making a deal with the devil. I used to have to do it. Or used to have to. I did do it with Dr. Doom. I almost said Dr. Evil. To save my husband. But she's like, if Apocalypse knows a way, then we have to hear him out. And Cable's like fighting within himself. He's like, I have to make a choice. I have to sacrifice what I want for what needs to be done. And so to save Franklin, I got to do this. So Cable and Apocalypse are going to team up. But he's like, but the moment this is finished, I will take you down. He's like, what the fuck ever, let's go. She's like, okay, let's go. And Apocalypse tells him, like, no, lady, you have to stay here. And she's like, no, I'm coming. And he telepathically says to her, it may be in Franklin's best hope for you not to join us. Just trust me, I won't let your boy die. She's like, okay, then may God watch over you. And Apocalypse, surely, Mr. Richard, you realize the only gods are those left on this battlefield. Seriously. So Apocalypse and Cable are off to save Franklin Richards. Glorious, is it not? And where are they? I think they're in the astral plane. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, whatever. They're on the astral plane, and Apocalypse was talking about, like, oh, look at all this awesome carnage that Onslaught is creating. Isn't it awesome? And Cable's like, you're crazy. Only you would think such a thing. And while they're in the astral plane, Cable takes a minute to kind of get his fucking arm under control. And Apocalypse mentions that, I forgot about that techno-organic virus that I infected you with. It's really nearly run its course. But you live, though you yet live, all that you might have been has been irreparably altered. And he's like, all you've succeeded in doing with this techno-organic virus is making me stronger. Something you'll regret, I promise. He's like, really? Maybe I should cure you now and wipe the virus clean from your body if it's making you so strong. He's like, forget it. I'll deal with it. He's like, okay, whatever. So there's Apocalypse, and I don't know. It's just a very unintimidating picture of Apocalypse with this bottom of his booties you see here. It's just, when I see Apocalypse drawn here, as opposed to Joe Mad here, I don't know. I just think this is so much better. I mean, Joe Mad is a better artist, but just the way he draws him is more menacing than here. That's just my opinion. Doesn't matter. Um, so they're going on. They're going at an onslaught into a citadel somehow. And there's Onslaught. Somebody didn't tell Ian Churchill here that he had changed forms. He now looks like this cackling, toothy monster instead of the Magneto helmet version. But he still has Franklin trapped within him somehow, you know? And there's Franklin. And he just wants to go home. He's like, shut up. And Apocalypse and Cable just appear out of nowhere, and they're gonna fucking take on Onslaught. So that's kind of cool, right? But Onslaught manifests not real versions, but versions of Magneto, dumb as fuck named Post, and the Incredible Hulk. Psionic projections. So on Apocalypse and Cable have to fight these three. So they're like back to back. They're fighting these shits. Hulk taking on Cable here and knocks away Post. That's kind of funny. So they're fighting, talking shit to each other while fighting these guys. Talking about how, like, oh, look, there's Hulk. He almost killed me. Well, read the last issue. And Franklin's depending on me. I won't let him down. So Apocalypse, he's here, and he comes up, and he's like, time is short, and Cable is preoccupied. I can complete the task. And he's like, you're here to help me, won't you, mister? And he's telling, I don't know, is Onslaught just like not paying attention? And Apocalypse tells Franklin, your presence unlevels the battlefield. You also pose a future threat to me. It is necessary that you are separated from the entity by the veil of death. So, Apocalypse wants to kill Franklin. If he kills Franklin, that'll like really fuck up Onslaught and everything he's doing. So he's like, close your eyes, boy, and embrace the unfathomable. But Cable says, Richards, make your move now. And Susan Richards, she was there along for the ride the whole time, kept herself undetected, but with her invisibility powers. And she's like, keep away from my son, you butcher. And Cable kept her hidden telepathically, too. And so she stops Apocalypse from doing anything. And he says, I care little what you think, woman. I promise only to separate the boy from the being, thus making Onslaught vulnerable. What is one small loss compared to the fate of the planet? I mean, he's got a point, but I wouldn't fucking let him do it either. So Cable jumps on, gets a piggyback ride from Apocalypse, and they're still just fucking arguing. And Onslaught's like, don't you see, like, what is the true nature of humans? You can help me change all that. It's like, no, not everyone's like that. My mom and dad are really good. So this is kind of heartbreaking, especially if you have children. You know, I have a toddler child, younger than Franklin Richards here, but if he was like captured and I was trying my best to get to him, and like she's reaching and they're almost touching fingers, almost. And she's just yelling like, I'm never going to leave you. I'm always with you. We'll find a way. I promise. We will save you. And then suddenly they're gone somehow. They're transported out of the citadel, out of the astral plane, and back to the streets. And Apocalypse is like, you dumb fucks! Do you know what you cost us? Do you? And Cable's arm is all fucked up again. He said, it costs you a chance to do to Franklin what you did to me. He's alive and unharmed. There's still hope to free him. The way I see it, we won. It's like, did you? Did you really? And Susan Richards is all upset, as she should be. And they're talking about like I knew the risks, but just being that close to Franklin, seeing his helpless face, he needs us now more than ever. And he's like, we're going to stop Onslaught once and for all. And then the Watcher and Apocalypse are talking. He's like, you must respect them, for despite their sacrifice, they're unwilling to become like you and allow the end to justify any means. He's like, I just saw weakness when strength was needed, and I will never respect that. He says, yeah, but you must wonder what kind of strength it takes to give up what you want more than anything to avoid becoming the thing you hate most. So, like, Cable wanted to kill Apocalypse and probably had a chance, maybe. But to save Richard, Franklin, he didn't do that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens to their nobility when Apocalypse Onslaught destroys them all. And there's more words, and it's basically saying, like, Franklin, after seeing his mom and everything, something has changed within him. He now has hope, so he has more of a determination. So the saga of Onslaught continues in X-Men 19 and X-Men 55. I do not have X-Men number 19. I do have X-Men number 55, though, so we'll be looking at that. So there was an issue of Cable. He fought Apocalypse. He teamed up with Susan Storm. They tried to get Franklin Richards, and they didn't do it. So there's a quick recap of it. So thank you for everything. Make sure you leave a like, and we only have a couple issues left until the end of this Onslaught. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.